It's the moment that fans around the world never thought would come, the moment when Demet Özdemir, after years of silence, finally spoke about forgiveness, love, and the truth behind her connection with Can Yaman. The actress who once avoided every question about their past has now opened her heart in a way that left both fans and journalists completely stunned. In her own words, she explained why she forgave him, and the reason is deeper, more emotional, and more human than anyone could have imagined. The interview took place in a calm, softly lit studio in Istanbul. Demet appeared serene, her expression was peaceful, her tone measured, but there was something in her eyes that hinted at years of unspoken emotion. She was there to promote her new project, but the conversation quickly shifted to the topic that everyone had been waiting for, Can Yaman. When the interviewer asked her about the past, she hesitated for a brief moment, then smiled faintly. "It's a part of my story," she said. "And I've learned not to run away from my story anymore." That line alone sent chills through the audience. But what came next was even more powerful. When asked if she had forgiven Can, Demet took a deep breath and said quietly, "Yes, I have." The interviewer leaned forward, clearly surprised. "You have?" Demet nodded. "Forgiveness isn't about forgetting or pretending nothing happened," she continued. "It's about freeing yourself from the weight you've been carrying for too long. I forgave him because I didn't want to live my life with anger. I forgave him because he was once someone who truly mattered." Those words hit differently. They weren't defensive, they weren't bitter, they were honest. And honesty, especially in a world as harsh and public as hers, is rare. Social media immediately exploded. Within minutes of the clip being shared, hashtag Demet forgives Can and hashtag WorldShocked were trending in both Turkey and Italy. Fans replayed the video, analyzing her every expression, her every pause. Many said they could see the truth in her eyes, that this wasn't a PR move or a rehearsed statement. This was real. To understand how impactful this moment was, you have to remember the history between them. Demet Özdemir and Can Yaman were once the most beloved duo in Turkish television. Their chemistry in Erkenci Kuş, Daydreamer, made them household names around the world. Fans fell in love not just with their characters, but with the possibility that the magic continued off-screen. But fame, pressure, and misunderstandings soon took their toll. Rumors of jealousy, distance, and harsh words spread quickly. There were claims that Can's rising fame and new lifestyle had created a wall between them. Others said Demet felt betrayed by how their story ended, quietly, without closure. For years, both of them stayed silent, never confirming, never denying, letting the silence speak for itself. And that silence grew heavier with time. But as Demet revealed in this interview, silence can be misleading. "We both needed time," she said softly. "We were very young, and everything happened too fast. Sometimes you don't know how to handle fame, attention, or emotions when everything hits at once. We made mistakes, both of us. But life has a way of teaching you through pain." The interviewer then asked her what forgiveness meant in this specific case. Demet smiled, a calm, almost nostalgic smile, and said something that would be quoted endlessly online: "I didn't forgive him for his sake. I forgave him for mine." That single sentence became headline news across multiple countries. Italian tabloids translated it immediately, Turkish media analyzed it line by line. Fans flooded comment sections with emotional reactions. "She's still in love," wrote one. "This is real maturity," wrote another. Others pointed out that her tone wasn't angry. It was peaceful, as if she had truly made peace with the past. But she didn't stop there. Demet went on to explain what led to that peace. "When you care about someone deeply," she said, "it doesn't just disappear. Even after everything ends, there's a part of you that remembers the good. I realized that holding on to resentment was like punishing myself for something that was already over. I wanted to remember the light, not the shadow." Her choice of words revealed everything: the hurt, the healing, and the growth that came after. And for those who wondered if she and Can had spoken recently, she gave a small but telling answer: "We've both said what needed to be said. Sometimes words aren't necessary anymore. Sometimes silence itself is understanding." Fans interpreted that as confirmation that they had reconnected privately. One Italian journalist even claimed that Can and Demet had met secretly during a recent trip, a rumor that spread like wildfire after Demet posted a cryptic Instagram story of a sunset with the caption, "Closure feels like peace." If you look closely, this confession isn't just about forgiveness, it's about transformation. Demet isn't the same woman who fell in love years ago. She's grown, evolved, and learned to see love through a wiser lens. Her forgiveness wasn't weakness, it was strength. She said it best herself, "I didn't forgive because everything was okay. I forgave because I wanted to be okay." Her fans have called it one of the most emotional interviews of her career. Even those who were never interested in celebrity relationships couldn't ignore the humanity behind her words. There was no drama, no gossip, just raw truth. Can Yaman, as always, didn't comment publicly. But hours after the interview aired, fans noticed he posted something that many believe was his silent response, a black and white photo of himself standing by the sea, looking at the horizon, with the caption, "Gratitude changes everything." That simple post reignited hope among those who still believe their story isn't over. Insiders say Can was deeply moved by Demet's words. He's been waiting for that moment for a long time, a close friend reportedly told an Italian magazine. Not because he needed her forgiveness, but because he wanted her to be free from the pain. They both carried it for too long. The interview has since been replayed millions of times, with fans across the world commenting that it feels like the closing, or maybe the reopening, of a love story that has lived in people's hearts for years. "They're like two souls that needed distance to find clarity," wrote one viewer. Another said, "Forgiveness doesn't mean going back. It means healing enough to look back without pain." Demet's final words in the interview summed it all up beautifully, "I don't regret loving him. I don't regret anything. Love teaches you, even when it hurts. And sometimes, forgiveness is the last chapter of that lesson." She paused, smiled softly, and added, "Maybe forgiveness is another way of saying love never really ends, it just changes shape." The room went silent. The interviewer, visibly moved, didn't know what to say next. And for a few seconds, Demet just sat there, serene, peaceful, radiant. It wasn't just an interview, it was a moment of closure, of grace, of growth. Across social media, fans are still replaying that moment, quoting her lines, and creating montages of her and Can with emotional music and captions like "Love always finds its way back." Whether or not this forgiveness leads to a new beginning between them, one thing is certain, Demet Özdemir has reminded the world that true strength lies not in holding grudges, but in letting go with love. And maybe, just maybe, in forgiving Can Yaman, she didn't just set him free. She set herself free, too, and as the world continues to react, one truth remains clear, Demet's words have transcended gossip. They've touched hearts because they remind everyone that forgiveness is not a weakness but a victory of the soul. It's choosing peace over pride, compassion over resentment. Fans now look at her not just as an actress, but as a woman who found courage and kindness, and taught millions what real love truly means.